Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. This is going to be a interesting type of feature video, specifically for an artifact. Currently, as I'm recording the video, we have a limited banner with ReZero collaboration, and the artifact I want to talk about in this video is Azure Comet. Now, when I first raided this, I was like, you know what, it's going to be a really niche. I don't have no idea like who's going to use it. And so I was saying that, you know, this is not going to be a very useful artifact because warriors really want like Sigurd's Scythe. But then one day on stream, I was looking at Rem. I was looking at her kit, and the demon mode that she has takes 5 turns for it to recycle. And I was like, you know, like it seems like a very aggro skill. Like maybe you want to finish off your opponents really quick. When I first raided the banner, I was also saying that maybe she would work in a cleave deck, right? Like if you have squishy heroes and then they die, maybe she, you know, gets the demon mode early and then you can use that to your benefit. Now in this feature video, you'll see a bit of Rem used, but Rem isn't the highlight. It is this Azure Comet. So eventually I looked at her kit, thinking about her being in a cleave deck, cleave rosters, we're talking about speed cleaving. And I was looking at the artifact again and then reassessing it, and I'm like, hey, you know what? That's actually not that bad. If you get a max limit broken, I believe it's up to 24%, 24% CR boost when somebody dies. It can only be activated once per turn, but it's as good as Sasha Ethane. So Sasha Ethane is a ranger artifact. When an opponent dies, the team gets an AoE push of up to 16%. That's if you plus 30 or max limit break. But you get an additional crit chance, and this is only a self CR boost, but you have a 15% crit chance. Now, 15% crit chance is really big, like with the recent buffs of like Black Hand of the Goddess, other like, I think it's kind of like Mania of Control or something like that, the Says artifact. A lot of these artifacts, players are seeing that, you know, in a speedy hero, because sometimes it's really hard to get your speed, but then also match the DPS stats you need. It's much easier to lower the criteria for your damage, either like it's crit rate or maybe crit damage. So a lot of these new artifacts coming out, I feel like they benefit from heroes that want high speed, because all your, you know, substat rolls are probably going to be there. Anyways, so what we're going to go through is basically a couple of my arena fights, experimenting with the kind of synergy of, I think, potentially some really cool cleave comps. And potentially, you know, for players who are doing World Arena and you're just like way more experienced than me, start thinking in this way. I think Smilegate is trying to push a different type of cleave, and I think the next set of cleavers are honestly going to be probably warriors. That being said, I definitely think that this is one of the best in slot artifacts for strays. Again, if you are building for a speed cleave deck, all right. So this is not exactly for the bruisers. For the lifesteal strays and stuff like that, or the counter set rems, stuff like that. This is mainly for like a speed deck. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoy the commentary on the fights and my thought process there. Alright guys, so here's the first fight. So remember, keep in mind that this was all experimental, just to see, like, you know, just to prove the artifact is, you know, working the way I wanted to. For this fight, there is no Politis, so the Cdom will get the turn, of course. And then again, with the booster, Cdom is actually a bit cheating, but you guys will see there's a variety of fights, since the defense meta is quite varied right now in Arena. The Rem is level 50, and she self-attack buffs, which is really nice. So again, I'm going into these fights blind. I didn't know that was a Holy Sacrifice Crow. So the blind from Rem is pretty nice. But it's Holy Sacrifice Crow, so I lose Rem here, so it's not exactly a Rem showcase. The counterattack is pretty cool. No Mola at the moment for Rem, 0 skill enhancement. I went for Rem, too bad, but Cdom is fine as well. It was either Cdom or Rem that would have died. So in this, the rest of the fight here is pretty slow, so I'll actually have a quick edit, I think, after the crowd dies. That way we kind of just go to the end of the fight.
Protect my people.
So for the first one, this was like my first fight to try out this artifact. What I was satisfied with, at least when I was doing video recording. It's pretty good against strays, even with attack down. It's a guaranteed ignore resist, as long as your attack is high enough. Ignore resist on your target for the strip. So it's very nice. So it is, I'm convinced that it will be best in slot. Anyways, you saw that quick edit there. Best in slot for strays is your comment. But here comes some more spicy fights, alright? Hope you guys enjoy this. So this one, there is a Politis. So, you know, going straight for the, you know, C-Dom and stuff like that, or, you know, it wouldn't have really worked as much, depending on the speed tuning. Good thing is that that was a cleave Politis, so a bit squishy. And I have my Politis to prevent the T-Cern from cutting. This is pretty cool, look at this. So, the Azure Comet pushed the strays up. And my Politis is still quicker than the T-Cern. I did get the push on the Opsig though. The pushback from Opsig, so it helped.
This is the path on which I belong.
Now this one was really cool. Look at me use this Nemesis level 5. It's the self-sacrifice, right? Because the artifact does work both ways. So anybody die on your team or enemy team, the artifact procs. So Azure Comet put me forward. This is, I'll admit, this is a bit of a risk factor here. Ideally, anyone under like 220 speed should be immunity. So my Watcher Shuri should be immunity, especially if I want to play cleave. I didn't get the blind, so really lucky here, but this was also really lucky. So nowhere am I saying that, you know, these fights are like 100% proof this artifact's good, but you can see it's being used. It's like, you don't need Sasha Thanes, you don't need a ranger, but if your warrior is part of your cleave comp, having that Azure Comet go off every turn is pretty good. So once every turn.
Let's aim for the weak spots.
But again, this fight, a lot of RNG, so I understand the argument is like, oh, that doesn't prove it's good. There's a couple spicy fights though.
This is the path on which I belong.
Is it my turn?
I like this as well. Alina made defense comps are really funny with your own Politis and Celine.
Initiating protocol.
This one was a bit surprising for me. The Mayclo is actually really fast, faster than I would have expected. Just slightly slower than my Opsig. And T-Cern can't, you know, can't go through both here, so T-Cern is instant dead. The Azure Comet did proc on strays there, but the Politis did not die at that point. So
Get ready. You are unwelcome in my.
So again, the speed tuning a bit bad. Politis is a very common defense hero, so the argument of like, you know, Azure Comet not really good because this Politis is credible here. But again, you strip 2 here, so guaranteed on those 2 ER heroes for Strays S2. Very nice. This is also a bit risky. Good thing my Celine was on immunity.
Should I show you my secret weapon? It's not my fault.
I soul burn this so I can kill her as quick as possible, knowing that I can miss. Because Politis would slow down every other CR boost that I have in this team comp, which is mainly Strays S1. I think I also hard cut this one, so we save it a bit, the time. Strays is because of the defense pen. Look at that, 6.8k damage with no attack buff on a miss.
Victory is within our grasp.
Because it's 100% defense pen versus a Mei Chloe. There we go. So I just quick skip here. It's just because that Alina ended up countering and Celestining every single turn. So I decided to give her a taste of her own medicine based on her passive.
Thank you for helping me.
Alright, so this one's a bit more bread and butter. I mean, no Politis to stop the Nox slots. But that's a very fast Landy. So for this one, because the RB is a speed one, my operator secret would be able to kill him as long as I get rid of the Aureus. So the Aureus was the best target there.
Executing commands.
You did see Strays actually get a cut there. And then because of ML haste, you know, protecting everyone, and my ML haste is on idle cheer, this ended up being a very, very clean sequence. So he gets pushed up. Of course, no politics on the opponent's team, so I get the full benefit of the idle cheer. And because that's a cleave landy, very squishy.
Did you see that? Aren't I amazing?
But the Azure Comet helped the cut.
I will protect my people.
These fights are going by really quick, but they're really fun.
Often does not
So again,
It can't be
not knowing the speed tuning, not knowing the artifacts, this was fine. Because I wasn't gonna one-shot the T-Serin with this team comp. It was the get the barrier, and then Opsig kill Politis, and then we get our Azure Comet procced on both warriors. See? You see they jump? Very, very cool.
Initiating protocol. Beginning extermination.
The restrict, of course, doesn't really work well here. There could have been some RNG. I pushed it last right crowd back, but the restrict on the T-Serin didn't help my cause. She will get the turn. Good thing she didn't gab. So still a bit of RNG, but you can see some of this, some of the theory crafting on this. This is very cool just to see this. I mean, level 50, level 50 Rem, and the T-Serin couldn't kill her. But no attack buff, like I said, no gab. This kills last rider Crow. And Azure Comet procced again, but the T-Serin got another CR boost. But again, the demon mode very, very good into like Tempest Serin as well. Kind of like what is it? Top model Luluka's S1, Soul Burned. But demon mode goes away so fast that if you are playing with Bruiser Rem, it's well, that's a video in and of itself. Yeah, but this one was really fun as well. Look at me choose Melanie, new 5-star, or sorry, new 3-star fire hero.
quit misbehaving.
I didn't know about the speed tuning on this one. I thought the Kisei would go first, but regardless, it doesn't matter. Kisei starts with a single target. So he did gab, she did gab. Hits this level 5 Melanie, of course no gear. And then I get a counterattack, which I wasn't expecting, but it was still nice to have. And then I get the Azure proc. So because in this team it was really obvious that Mei Chloe would have the ice HP. So again, no Publicis on the defense. Pretty easy to use the CR boost to manipulate that turn. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the fights and maybe the thought process behind this artifact and the usefulness of it. I definitely think once I realized that, you know, it could be good for very aggro type of teams, my mind changed about the artifact. I think it's a very, very solid artifact, to be honest. Before we continue on the discussion here, I want to give a big shout out to my Patreon supporters supporting me monthly: Silly, Azure, Deekboy, Kariha, Stone Thunder, Torin B, Sean B, Potatoes, and Hippie. Thank you guys for your continuous support. If you're watching this video and you want to support me through that avenue, there's a link in the description below. But otherwise, let's get into it. So this is not really a showcase of the heroes on that artifact. In my opinion, it just opens up for more possibilities of builds. With this artifact, because you get a 15% crit rate, even if it's at like, you know, +0, it's like just fresh. It doesn't increase as you level or enhance the artifact, but 15% crit rate means that you can get up to 3 to 4 speed rolls, you know, depending on how high, but about 3 speed rolls if you're counting the I-90 equivalents, 3 speed rolls of crit rate, which is very, very good. So that means that your strays could be very high damage. It can stay on immunity. So I mean, this would basically cancel out a crit set, a necessity for a crit set. You can have it on immunity, you can have them with more speed, stuff like that. So it really helps with that, you know, base stat that is required. One thing to note though is that if you do equip the artifact 15% extra crit rate, it is not reflected on the stat page. So right now I'm at 92%. That's all from just his awakenings and the gear itself. So the 15 is added on top. So the artifacts do only work as you go into the fight. This might change in the future, but that's just something for you to know if you're watching this video and just like, hey, you're still not at 100% crit rate. I am at 100% crit rate with this artifact. Now, my strays was never built with this in mind. I was using Draco Plate for the longest time, but a lot of people run like Symbol of Unity, Portrait. Although that does a lot of damage, if you have a way to get an attack buff on strays, you honestly don't need it. that's why I was thinking like, hey, this artifact might be really good for him because it lowers the requirement of either you need a C-Dom to push him or you need him to be very, very fast. But I would still recommend him build pretty fast, although I prefer immunity on him. No matter what. It doesn't require a ranger with Sasha Thanes on. So Sasha Thanes here, let me just quickly show here. Not that one, this one. So yeah, plus 30, it increases up to 16% combat readiness, and at a max limit broken for the Azure Comet, it would give you, I think, like I said, I think it's a 24%, but if it is a 24 plus 16, you're looking at 40% CR boost when someone dies, right? Especially the opponent. But as you saw in my showcase, I sacrificed my own heroes in order to get the CR boost, which I still think is pretty cool. So like, there's a lot of like theory crafting that you can do with this artifact. Maybe a Guild War fight specifically, you know, getting a CR push where you can't because 3-man compression, it could be pretty tough depending on the situation, but it could work. Now, I know the argument for a lot of people and is that like, oh, like certain heroes counter this artifact. Like for example, Cerise, Politis, they counter the artifact. Yes, of course, but if you want to complain about any artifact, almost any hero can counter any artifact. So I definitely don't think that's a very usable like discussion or an argument. Like saying like, oh, Abyssal Crown doesn't work because someone has like immunity, or Abyssal Crown doesn't work because someone has like high ER. Like that kind of stuff, you know, it doesn't matter. So regardless, I definitely think that this artifact has something to go with. Now in the showcase, you know, I'll probably make a Rem showcase, especially I'm building one to be a cleaver. These are not final stats. Again, I put on some gear that I think that it would work because I'm farming her. She's level 50 as you can see right now. So just like quickly show it. It's not something like super special, but I have her at these stats. So what you saw in the showcase, this is the exact build. Let me showcase the Strays gear. Anyways, I'm gonna rebuild. I think Strays I'm gonna aim for like about maybe 220 speed, try not to lower the damage too much on immunity, and with that artifact, I think that's going to be my best in slot. Really thinking about all the scenarios, like if you don't have an attack buff, like would you actually necessarily need the Portrait or Symbol of Unity to get the kill? Potentially. But I don't plan to use him without an attack buffer. I mean, I think that's a requirement. Anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much it for this showcase. Hopefully that had been helpful. So, you know, I'm hoping that at least the banner is going to be live for another week as I'm making this video recording, so that maybe you'll be convinced that you'll want it. With just a couple things, like last notes would be like some of the heroes coming down the line with Ops Cigarettes, like Ops Cigarette, Operator Cigarette. So Ops Sig buffed. A lot of people are already thinking like, okay, well, Cleave is in a pretty decent place, right? You got a lot of toys to play with, right? Politis Cleavers are building Politis to be a damage dealer. With ML Charles coming out, I made a ML Charles initial thoughts video. So Closer Charles initial thoughts video also on the YouTubes. I think he's going to be very, very good in a cleave deck. Whatever speed he's at, he's going to be decent depending on how you use him. So it's just like things like that, having with Closer Charles being able to do CR boost, also do damage, also do an attack buff, like it might be very good. And AoE, by the way, it might be very good for like your warriors to start using this artifact. Now, I definitely think that if you consider Rem a cleaver, if you consider, of course, Strays is a cleaver, he could work very flexibly, we can potentially open our mind to a whole roster of warriors coming down the line that could be more or less known for being a good cleaver. So like in terms of AoE damage and outputting damage fast, that kind of stuff. I was looking through the journal just to see like what other warriors can really use this. I think, you know, again, depending on the situation, I think like DPS, like a green Euphine, although not a lot of people use her, could work because green Euphine's damage is pretty strong. But it would, I think, benefit more for like a cleave comp. But if you need your warrior to push up just because like someone dies, I mean, this is a no-brainer. You could put that on almost anyone, even a single target warrior, and it still works. So anyways, that's my thoughts for this artifact, my kind of like unique kind of review for an artifact specifically. But hopefully you guys did enjoy watching this video. I'm gonna end this for the video recording. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.